Hey there everybody, Aaron here. Welcome to another episode of Gideon's Tactical. You know, over here at the channel, we do a lot of bushcraft style, camp style knives and gear. And I love that, and that's usually what majority of us are gonna be using, but I wanna do some more videos on tactical gear and more tactical style and utility style knives as well, because I know there's definitely a market for that, as well as particularly those in the military all over the world and law enforcement that wanna see more utility tactical blades than just the camp style knives that have maybe really good ergonomics, but maybe aren't that tough, you know, or something like that. So I've gotten my hands on the Hardcore Hardware MFK04-GEN 2. I know that was a huge mouthful, okay, but that's what we got here today. This is definitely a tactical style knife. This knife is made in Australia, and we're gonna get out here today and really do a lot of kind of stabbing, tactical tasks, going through seatbelt. I've purchased actual seatbelt material. We're gonna go through that. We're gonna do some survival tasks as well, because a knife like this, you know, if you're in the military or law enforcement, you get stranded, you know, somewhere, you may have to survive with this blade. So we're gonna do a lot of hard use tasks with this Hardcore Hardware knife, and we're gonna really see today how this blade performs. So with that being said, let's get to it. All right guys, I wanna give you a couple basic specs here as we jump into this review. What we're looking at here is an Australian made knife, very cool. And it is made out of D2 tool steel, which is an awesome steel. I've had a lot of use with D2. I really like it a lot. It's kind of an upgrade over 1095, and depending on the heat treat, it can be a very tough, durable blade steel that you can rely on your blade for, and it will hold a lot longer edge and be a little bit more rust resistant than 1095. So that's what we're looking at here today. What we have is an actual blade length here of 5 inches from this little point right here of the edge forward, so 5-inch cutting edge. You have an overall length from tip to tip of 10.5 inches. It is going to weigh 11.5 ounces naked, and then it's going to be 15 ounces with the kydex sheath that comes with it, and it is going to be 0.23 on the thickness, so almost a 1/4 inch thick. So very thick, stout blade, full tank construction all the way through with G10 handle scales. So this has definitely got a lot of things in the premium level of high quality, high durability, going for it. So now today we're gonna really obviously get on it, thrash on it, and see how this baby performs. All right guys, let me give you the ergonomic rating here on this knife, and I got to tell you, this is a really thought out, really well designed blade, because it's a 5 out of 5 on the ergonomic rating here on this blade. The reason for that is a lot of reasons. First off, that it has handle scales, which means there's going to be a lot more durability to this knife. It's a full tank construction. It's not, wrapped in kraton or some other type of material, and then there's a possibility of it loosening up. That's never going to happen, and if these handle scales do loosen up a little bit, you can obviously crank them back down, and if for some reason they were to fall off or crack or break themselves, obviously you could just wrap the handle in paracord. So the longevity and durability of this knife is great for the handle design. G10 handle scales are great. They've got really high traction because they got kind of these ribs on them, so it doesn't create any hot spots, but it does create really nice traction all along here, which gives really good grip. You can see that the handle scales have been machined and rounded, so it contours perfectly into your hand. I wear large size gloves. You can see there it fits perfectly with plenty of room to spare here on the back end. Very nice. And I like that there's a little bit of, contouring to where your fingers would sit, but it's not aggressive, so that I can hold it in different directions. I can do, a hammer grip and do push cuts if I have to. The guard up here is not too high, so that I can easily get my thumb over the guard if I need to get more aggressive with my carving. If I'm doing more of like feather sticks to get a fire going, something like that, I can easily do that. The guard isn't, super tall and awkward, and I have to kind of get over it. It even has the little, thumb swell there that I can do kind of a chest lever grip and do a reverse cut and do a more of a good bushcraft style cut with the knife if I need to. And just no matter which way I hold this blade, it feels very comfortable for all sorts of kind of survival tasks. And then on top of that, the guard is fantastically set up for tactical use. I can use it, and I'm holding it right here into place. I mean, that goes almost the entire length of my knuckle there, and it has obviously that top guard as well. So if I do a stabbing motion, my hand's going nowhere. It's not going to slide up and accidentally cut myself or hurt myself. And even in a reverse grip, I mean, I am locked into place there, and my hand is not going to, skip the guard and slide down and cut myself. So the handle is really well designed, not only for kind of bushcraft survival use, but also for tactical use and keeping your hand locked onto the blade even in hard stabbing tasks. So that's a very, very good design. They basically have done the best of both worlds, giving you a great ergonomics for tactical use and great ergonomics for more detailed, finer bushcraft, camp, survival tasks as well. So great handle design with a 5 out of 5. All right, guys, wanted to talk to you here about the performance of the knife because I really wanted to get out there and get hard on and get hardcore on this hardware blade, because not only at the price point that we'll talk about a little bit later, but the D2 steel and who would be using this. This is not a mantelpiece. This blade is designed to be used, and I know a lot of people who would be laying down that level of money that we'll talk about in a little bit and looking for this premium quality of knife are going to be wanting to use their knife, so they're going to want to see this thing really put through the ringer. So that's what I did. I really wanted to put it through the ringer and show you what this is capable of, a lot of the tasks that I put it through. So with that being said, let's go ahead. I'm going to run in a montage of action shots so you can just see all the different things we did. Then we'll come back into it and really talk through how it performed. Well, guys, as you saw there, I really got to work with this knife. I did a lot of tactical tasks because I know that that's really the first thought of this knife is, hand-to-hand combat, stabbing, slashing. If you lose your firearm, your gun jams, whatever, and you may have to go hand-to-hand, that's really what this, first and foremost, this knife was designed to do. So I really wanted to do that, and I really hacked on that tree, did tons of stabbing all over the place, not just in that, area, but in other locations, other stumps, other materials, to really see how it performed, and it has performed exceptionally well. This thing is a fantastic slasher and stabber. It will be able to penetrate deep. The guard's going to keep you into place, and it's going to be able to slash really well. So I was very happy with that performance of the knife. And then we just did a ton of other, bush tasks, because this could be used in a survival situation. You get wounded, you jump out of a plane, your parachute out, whatever, you're stranded, and you got to survive with this knife. You may not come to any hand-to-hand combat, but you may have to survive with it. And it batoned great for a fighting knife because of how thick it is. The full tank construction really helps with that, and the almost quarter-inch thickness. The swedge there did damage the batoning stick, but that's to be expected. So it split wood fantastically well. It's basically going to function very similar to a BK2 in its batoning capabilities. Did some light chopping. It's not a phenomenal chopper. It's not designed to be, but you can do some light limb clearing if you need to. Great feather stick making capabilities, making notches, preparing a spear. All those type of tasks did great for this, again, this style of knife. It didn't perform like a bushcraft knife, but for a tactical utility blade, it really performed well if you needed to put it into a lot of survival situations. Now, finally, the last thing I want to kind of talk about here is the plane edge and the serrations, and really show you and kind of talk through what this blade did when it came to seatbelt and paracord. So right now, Hardcore Hardware only makes this with a plane edge, with a serrated model. They do not make a plane edge. Hopefully in the future they're going to do that. Because I wanted to hold back through that original montage the nylon rope and paracord cutting, because you may definitely be using that a lot, this knife a lot, to do that. And I really wanted to test out the serrated teeth. Now, I'm a plain edge kind of guy, but I went into this test with an open mind, knowing that this is, a fighting knife, a tactical knife, used mostly for military purposes, and there's lots of nylon that you need to cut through. So I had an open mind saying, this isn't a bushcraft knife. Let's see how these those, you know, serrations perform. And so the first thing I did was go through seatbelt, and I tested it first on the plain edge, and I got to tell you that the plain edge went through it like butter. I mean, just flew through the seatbelt. Fantastic with that hollow grind, and the D2 steel is holding a great edge. I did that after all the other testing that I put this knife through, and I mean, it just went right through the seatbelt. Then when I went to the serrations though, I tried to do the exact same motion, exact same test, and it really was a lot more difficult. I really had to drag, and I really, you know, trying to get through the seatbelt. And I was not impressed. I'm just going to be honest. I was expecting it to bite in and cut through the seatbelt a lot faster, a lot easier. I think it's because the teeth are just too aggressive and too deep, so they kind of have a tend to kind of like bite in all the little different teeth marks, and then it's really hard to tear the nylon seatbelt like you would expect with most other serrations. I just don't think the serrations were designed all that well. Then we also did with paracord, same test, plain edge, boom, again, flew through like butter, fantastic. And then we put it up against the serrations, the same kind of thing. Kind of dragged a little bit and was just not as easy to do as what you would get out of just a straight plain edge all the way across. So in all honesty, guys, I just wasn't really digging the serrations. Again, going into the test with an open mind, I just, they will hold their edge longer because they're serrations than the plain edge, in the sense that they'll be able to tear through material long after your plain edge has dulled. But as long as you just have a ceramic rod or a diamond stone or, you know, anything like that to carry on your kit and just touch up your blade, you know, periodically, you would never have to worry about that, and the plain edge would definitely function better through paracord and nylon rope than the serrated portion of the blade. So I know there's still some people out there who really love serrations. If you like it still, great, go for it. I really hope that Hardcore Hardware at least offers in the future a plain edge version, and if that was the case, then I would highly recommend picking up the plain edge version over the serrations. In my opinion, from my testing, got to be real, got to be honest, guys. It still does it. It can absolutely cut through the material. You're not going to get, you know, hung up and not cut through it. It just wasn't as fast and wasn't as smooth as I was expecting with the serrations, and they tended to really catch and drag, and I had to put a lot more pressure and a lot more effort to get through the nylon material than I did with the plain edge. All right, guys, got to give you the sheath rating here on this knife, and I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, 5 out of 5. This thing is phenomenal, great designed sheath. Kydex, you know, I love Kydex over here at Gideon's Tactical. Tons of lashing points, so you can use paracord, you can use molly locks, BLADEHQ locks, any type of attachment you want. It does come with a BLADEHQ lock that is, you know, rotatable. You can do it each way depending on how you want to carry your blade. Very, very good lockup, zero rattle, nothing. That's just the lanyard flapping around. Zero rattle, it's not going to climb out, and it's designed in such a way that it's got a nice thumb ramp right there, so that when I deploy the blade, I am set and ready to stab. And for a tactical knife, and again, you know, that's kind of the original philosophy with this, and then doing some survival tasks as well if you have to, if you get, you know, shot down or stranded or, you know, wounded and whatever, and you gotta, you know, survive and use this knife till you're picked up by your buddies. I mean, it is set up, ready to go right there, so that as soon as you pull it out of the sheath, bam, you're ready to stab and defend yourself or use the blade however you need to, and you don't have to do any sort of walk up. You know, there's a lot of sheaths out there that you kind of have to do this secondary, you know, walk up, and you may not have time, and in that moment when you're doing that, you know, you could, you know, fumble the knife, drop it, all sorts of different things. So fantastic sheath, guys, very pleased, 5 out of 5. All right, guys, got to give you the quality rating here on this knife, and I got to tell you, if you haven't been able to figure it out yet, with the quality of not only the sheath, but the D2 steel, the G10 handle scales, made in Australia, I mean, this is a phenomenally high quality, like the top shelf of tactical utility knives that I've seen to date, that I've used and abused, that is a production knife, not a custom knife. This thing is phenomenal. The fit and finish, the coating, I've tried to get this coating to scuff and, you know, wear, and it has not, so it's holding up great. All the, you know, fit and finish with the handle scales lining up, and again, the sheath, the D2 steel with its edge retention, fantastic, guys. So 5 out of 5 on the quality rating for this blade. All right, guys, I want to hit up the value here real quick and give you the value rating. Now, this is really new to the market. This is replacing their older model. Obviously, the Gen 2 in the name really kind of gives that away. So you can find the older model right now for anywhere between like $240 and $260. And what I'm seeing on Amazon from only one buyer right now, or one seller, excuse me, one seller, is right around $265 is what I'm seeing for this knife in the tan. They also have this in a tan color as well. And what I believe is what we're going to probably see as it comes down a little bit, probably just over 200, you know, between 230, you know, 240 would probably be a good price. And I would say at that price point, that what you're getting with the phenomenal Kydex sheath, the D2 steel, Australian made, G10 handle scales, and just how well this knife is performing for me. Yeah, I am extremely impressed. And when you look around and begin to search with that criteria, D2 steel, super high quality, foreign produced in either US, Italy, or Australia, I think that's a great price point. I think the value rating for this knife is a 5 out of 5 if you're going to look at probably under $250. I would not really be paying more than $250 US, but as long as it's under $250, I think that's a great value, great price point, and definitely worth the money if you're in the market for this style of blade and you're going to want to put it through the task and put it through the ringer. I think that's a great price. Well guys, here we are. We got to wrap up this review for you on this knife, and I got to give you my likability, and then I'll kind of talk to you about why I like this knife and why I'm giving it the rating I'm going to give it. Right now, I'm going to give it a rating of 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. And the reason for that is, for this knife, this is one of the best designed do-everything knives I've ever seen, and I'm not joking when I say that. The handles are designed in such a way to give me extremely good traction, not only for stabbing and slashing tasks, but I can also do a lot of really good bush tasks because of the handles are just so ergonomic. They're not overly etched out, to match in just a hammer grip format. The guard is lowered on the top, so I can get over that guard if I need to. The blade sweep gives me a lot of belly, and it's nice and durable and thick. So, I mean, all those things together with that D2 steel, which is extremely high quality and is just holding a fantastic edge, I am loving this knife. The reason I'm digging at one point is because they don't offer a plain edge right now. I really hope in the near future, Hardcore Hardware will offer a full plain edge as well as the serrated, because as you've seen through this review, I wasn't super impressed with how the serrations performed. Now, if they had performed better with the nylon cutting and seat belt and paracord, then I would be totally fine with it. But they didn't blow me away. The plain edge cut way smoother and a lot faster than the serrations did. Now, the serrations will hold a longer edge just because of how they're designed, so they'll cut nylon rope longer than your plain edge would. But as long as you maintain a good plain edge, I think a plain edge model would be not only a fantastic tactical blade, but also could be put into a ton of bushcraft and bush style tasks, and you would love it because of the way they've designed the guard and the handles, and it's fantastic, guys. So extremely high quality. If you don't mind the serrations and you're looking for a premium tactical utility knife, this is the best I've seen on the market in the reviews that we've done to date. Now that can always change as more products come on the market, as Hardcore Hardware maybe refines the design and just gives us a plain edge. They give you a plain edge. This would be one of my favorite knives of all time, and I'm not joking you, because it has that bush capability and the tactical capability, and it comes with premium steel, fantastic ergonomics. Hardcore Hardware, you did a great job of giving us a tactical blade that will lock us into place for all the tactical tasks, but also be very comfortable for all the bushcraft tasks as well. So guys, hopefully again in the future we'll see a plain edge version of this. Right now it's a very solid 4 out of 5, and the only really reason that I ding it is that the serrations didn't perform like I was expecting them to, because I think they're a little too aggressive. So as always, guys, I really hope that this video has kind of helped you out with your purchasing decisions. You want a premium tactical utility blade and you don't mind serrations, this is the knife to get, guys, in my opinion. So with that being said, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all the relevant social media. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this Hardcore Hardware fixed blade as well as all their other products. And as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.